Hello and welcome to the Fusion Pro Show. My name is only Flippin' Owain Roberts. Today here with my co-host, the man with the dirty sheets, Phil Smarts. Hello Phil, how are you today?
I'm doing absolutely great. We've seen some awesome Fusion Virtual content recently, and we're going to start off with this as a topic immediately. Moving into Fusion Virtual, we've actually got a new correspondent on the show, and his name is Lewis Matson. So if you'd like to introduce yourself, Lewis.
Hello, I'm Lewis and I'm from Northwich and I play games.
He does play games indeed. We pay him an awful amount of money to play games. There's a lot of people jealous of his position.
Money.
So, but welcome to the Fusion Pro Show. What was the inspiration and things for starting at Fusion Virtual?
Well, it was a sort of a fan thing.
Yeah.
I was just a fan. I made a few things for a few promotions and then Fusion reached out.
Mhm.
And I started doing these properly for them, a bit more professionally.
Yeah.
And it's taken off.
Yeah.
Quite popular.
Well, we've enjoyed it so far, and we're looking forward to the shows ahead. We're just wondering if you could give us a little bit of insight into your inspirations and how you decided to go about creating the characters and go about their move sets and their overall ratings. Is there any process that you went through? I mean, we know that you've come to one of our shows, which was Fright Fest back in October, where you witnessed quite a few of our wrestlers. What's been the inspiration for the other wrestlers that you didn't quite see?
Well, a lot of it, like the ones that I saw, most of it is from memory, but sometimes I'll often find myself looking on the internet for pictures for quite a while to sort of frame that off.
Yeah.
Each character actually takes about 2 or 3 hours with the
Wow.
movesets and stuff, and it depends on really how popular they are.
Yeah. Well, anyone who's played these the games that we use for Fusion Virtual. Will know how long it takes to actually set up a character and choose the right entrance animations and the finishers and the whole moveset, because it isn't just a case of slapdash. We really do want to create a good bit of content for everyone in lockdown at the moment, don't we?
Oh no, absolutely, yeah. If there's someone who's been booked on a lot of shows, it's quite easy to find footage of moves and stuff.
Yeah.
But especially for guys that are in, sort of training or just been debuted recently, it's quite difficult to find quite the details.
Yeah, hard to flesh out a full moveset and things like that.
We saw Luke Little, for example. His main debut as such was a dark match against Rico Grande, and in that match he forgot to take his hoodie off. So
that's what we operated off. That's what we had to go off.
Yeah. Exactly. So a very timely process then. How many current wrestlers have you got there on the virtual show off memory?
The roster stands at 26 at the moment, different wrestlers.
Wow. So you're looking at over
3 hours.
Yeah, you're looking at over a good 70 hours worth of work on each member.
It's a lot of time.
Yeah.
It's a lot of time. And there's a horrible story behind it.
Yeah, you lost it. Didn't you lose your memory on there?
Yes.
Oh.
I spent about a month working on the show.
Jeez.
And we were gonna do a big weekly show, big kickoff.
Yeah.
On the day of the show, it gets wiped.
It got corrupted.
So I made everything twice.
The wonders of technology.
Nick Chambers, perhaps. Nick Chambers
yeah,
involved.
Possibly.
Right?
We haven't seen him in Fusion Virtual yet, have we?
No, we haven't.
We've not seen him yet. No.
Perhaps one for the future.
But I know that the Fusion faithful and all the fans and the whole roster are very grateful for the amount of work that you've put into this, and I guess that it's just the least we can do is say thank you and get you involved on the show for the updates and everything that consists of Fusion Virtual. So thank you very much for helping Fusion out with this.
Yes, thank you. So let's
pleasure.
Move on to the last episode of Fusion Virtual. So it's episode 2. We'll let you go over the matches, Lewis. We understand that Ryan Riot went against Pastor Everett Teague.
Oh, yes. Well, I believe it was 42 seconds, was it?
42 seconds indeed. I had my timer out, and it was 42 seconds on the dot.
That's
possibly
incredible.
A Fusion Virtual record.
I think it is, isn't it?
So.
Yeah. Pastor Everett Teague showing his dominance, really. But
yeah, Big League Teague, as we say.
Big League Teague, there we go.
It was a shame because Ryan hadn't been seen since that controversial match at the first Streamfest,
Mm.
uh, and I'm sure he was hoping to come out hot in the well, they're not weekly anymore. There's 2 a week, but the episodes.
Yeah.
And then the match starts. He goes to start off hot and just misses, and then he gets slammed and loses.
So yeah, we saw a massive Pearl River driver from Pastor Everett Teague, of course.
Oh,
Pastor
huge,
Everett Teague's
with a sit out variant that we don't often
with
see.
yeah, well, Pastor Everett Teague's known for his non-bendy knees.
Oh yes, a bit of a Matt Hardy.
We rarely see him sit out on anything, but yeah, we saw that massive move. But what next for Ryan Riot? What does he have to do to get a win at Fusion Virtual?
I don't know. He's clearly struggling in the virtual world. I think he might need something to fire him up. You know, maybe a match against a member of AnarKy, for example.
Yeah, something a bit more personal for him.
Yeah.
Or possibly someone to join him, or him to join someone.
Yeah, possibly.
He needs some mentorship.
Perhaps.
We'll have to see where it heads.
We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's all in the surprise. That's what makes Fusion Virtual so good. The fact that anything can happen, and it isn't limited to the confines of reality, I guess you could say.
Not limited to bendy knees.
Not limited to bendy knees at all. No. So the next match was Reinhardt with Kreaper, but he was with the mystery man who attacked Big Red in the previous episode. So there's quite clearly an alliance between these two. You know, they're both very braggadocious and brutal, bad people by the looks of things. You know, this partnership could be quite dangerous in Fusion Virtual.
This could be very dangerous, especially since I don't know who this is. I've got my huge team. I've got such a big team behind this.
Yeah.
We've all been looking into it, and none of us could find anything.
So it seems as if this character's just appeared on the memory drive then.
Yeah. I've got to be honest. I've got all the sources, as everyone knows, but I couldn't find anything either. You know, he just wears a skull mask and does his thing and beats people up, doesn't he?
Scary guy.
He is scary.
From what I thought,
He's a big guy as well.
Absolutely.
It could have possibly been Isaac
Red
North.
look normal size.
Yeah, could have been Isaac North. That's a good point from Owain there.
But obviously with
you know, maybe they have a respect forged in battle type of relationship now, Isaac North and Kreaper. But you got to wonder, why would Isaac North want to hide his face?
Well, yeah, of course. But moving on in this match, we did see Reinhardt go blows with Kreaper. Obviously, Reinhardt in real life has been on a fantastic run. You know, one half of the tag team champions, but in the virtual world, it hasn't been going too great for Reinhardt. Obviously, playing with Pastor Everett Teague in the first Streamfest, they lost that match. But then going on to this now, he does put up a very good fight, but Kreaper manages to just get that edge, throw Reinhardt out of the ring, and beat him to what can be described as a bloody pulp. Lewis, what would you say about this match? Is this Kreaper continuing his dominance or his anger towards other members of the roster?
I would say that Reinhardt has been probably the most unlucky in Fusion Virtual so far. Obviously, teaming with the evidently absolutely fantastic Pastor Everett Teague at Streamfest. We've seen how good he can be, and still just couldn't quite get the job done. And then obviously, technically, really screwed out of this match because he only lost by count-out. Don't forget, you know.
Yeah, it's not really a solid win, but
No.
the way that I might think things unravelled is obviously Kreaper in real life and in virtual has a bit of a heated rivalry with Pequeno Loco. You know, he's taken 2 losses to him now in Fusion Virtual, and I think whenever he sees someone in a mask, he might just see Pequeno Loco there, and he just wants to make a statement every time. So I think that's why.
In a mask?
Anyone in a mask. Well, maybe not his best mate. You know, maybe not. Yeah. But you know, that might be another thing. He might think masks hold power, and that's why he's aligned himself. But next up in the show, we had RJ Silver making a promo on Brian Stone and talked about his dental hygiene for some reason.
Well, clearly, Brian Stone. I mean, I don't know. I've never spoken face to face with Brian Stone, nor has anyone in my huge team.
He
of
has wonderfully bright white teeth.
He does.
Yes.
Well, all the money that he's made from Fusion, he might have been able to buy veneers.
so
You know.
much money.
Yeah, I might have to request some information from sources to see if he's been going to the dentist and getting some veneers put in, because
Well,
but his breath's always fresh, smells of dark fruits as you would expect. But just a strange promo from RJ Silver generally, isn't it?
well, I'll have to ask someone in my team. Like I say, I've got a huge team behind Fusion Virtual.
Mhm.
We've got hundreds of us in the headquarters. I'm sure one of us can come to a conclusion as to why RJ would include a line such as that.
Perhaps he was just
possibly.
trying to get under Brian Stone's skin. Perhaps he thought that something such as his teeth could be a soft spot
No.
for Brian Stone, where Brian Stone does pride himself on his looks. RJ Silver possibly trying to dent Brian Stone's confidence, but again calling him out, but not even calling him out for that title.
Just about his teeth.
Just about his teeth and his general hygiene.
Well, I don't know what RJ wants more. I don't know whether it is the title or whether Brian walking around backstage does create a bit of an odour. I'm not
Maybe.
sure.
Maybe the virtual
Well-
Stone is too busy winning titles to care about his teeth.
Well, he's been very impressive. Maybe that's the secret.
Maybe.
he knocks him out with his tooth odour.
Yeah,
We don't
all
know.
that plaque and tartar and everything. Anyway,
Could be a new tactic. going
Possibly,
forward in
possibly.
Fusion Virtual.
so we move on anyway from RJ Silver's strange promo to Morgan Daly versus Dougie Matthews. You know, these are a couple people who teamed up in Team Ego at Streamfest. But obviously Dougie Matthews wanted that main event, but not against Daly. He wanted it against Stone.
Yeah.
So we saw we saw the match progress through, and you know, Morgan Daly fought till the end. He was kicking out at 2 3/4, but Dougie Matthews, obviously a very capable wrestler, and he hit Morgan Daly with that huge fisherman suplex and got the win, and proves that he deserved to be in the main event.
But not forgetting, before he hit that fisherman suplex, a dastardly low blow. Again, we've seen Dougie Matthews utilise this low blow in his moveset in the virtual world. Lewis, what has pushed Dougie Matthews to almost ignore the ref being there and just going for it regardless? Is it a case of he's just so desperate to injure his opponents that he doesn't care if he wins or loses?
I think Dougie cares more about hurting people.
Yes,
I think that's the motive.
hurting them in the
And I
knackers.
don't know how well it's going to work, because we did see him eliminated in the first round of the tournament. However, he did win this match, so maybe it's sort of just a 50-50 thing, you know? If he wins, it's a bonus, but really he just wants to go ahead and
He just
help
wants
people.
to. Maybe it's something to do with the gene pool, and he wants to be the only one able to have kids on the Fusion Virtual roster.
Perhaps it's another conspiracy with Dick Chambers. Dick Chambers obviously wanting to stop the good guys of Fusion from being able to pass over their goodness to other people.
Yes.
Perhaps by doing this, it's only going to enhance, as Phil has just said, push only the bad members of the
Well,
roster.
so Dick
to be-
Chambers is operating in eugenics. There's
Perhaps.
there's
We've seen him
nothing he will
operating-
not stoop to, is there really?
No, well, he is the smartest man in wrestling after all. You know, and to do such a plan, he'd have to have the brains to be able to do it, and it's no surprise if it is true.
Absolutely.
Well,
So
yeah, perhaps we're trying to start a new revolution in Fusion Pro, where we only have little Dougie Matthewses and little Dick Chambers running around.
well, you know,
That way,
we-
Dougie Matthews will be the champion.
absolutely, you know, or some kind of offspring of Dougie Matthews. But you know, we do actually see Dick Chambers' offspring in real life. You know, we have Jake Chambers. I'm not sure. I can't recall if he's made a virtual debut yet. He might have done. But we've already seen the offspring of Dick Chambers in the real world.
He has appeared in Fusion Virtual, yes. He
So
was
we've
in
seen him there
the
as well.
10-man Rumble. That's
Oh
right.
yes, of course. Yeah, I remember he came in with the T-shirt, the classic T-shirt we see him wear.
He did.
So anyway, we'll move on to episode 3. Obviously, the most recent episode of Fusion Virtual. Could you just talk about it a little bit, Lewis?
Well, it was a very controversial opener. So RJ Silver comes out, and he calls out Connor Klein to essentially disband Paradox.
Wow.
Wow.
Now, what's interesting, and we'll get onto it later in the show, is that Andy Knox did not have a say in this. It was RJ and it was Connor. So Ryloid is currently out with an injury,
Of course,
so he couldn't be there. And Andy Knox.
it's just
Actually,
left
we'll
hanging.
note this. Yeah. Before we move on any further, I will point out that his Paradox's record in Fusion Virtual. So at Streamfest, they lost to
To GeForce particularly,
They were pretty much single-handedly beat by GeForce. Yes.
it was incredible.
It was quite. Yes, it was quite impressive. And then we move on to the Fusion Virtual Tournament. Andy Knox eliminated first round by
Yeah.
Krimson Khaos in quite quick fashion,
Mhm.
should be noted. And also in Fusion Virtual, Connor Klein and RJ Silver have lost to AnarKy quite recently.
Wow.
Yeah, AJ Hughes and Jay Shelley. So Paradox's run in Fusion Virtual hasn't been, at all good. They've been actually
It's
abysmal.
abysmal, yeah. But
And
here's the
as we
thing,
said-
though. I think when we look at RJ Silver, someone might have to get an MRI scan on him. I think he might have some form of dementia, because he walked out the week before talking about Brian Stone's teeth, and his dental hygiene, and then this week he's trying to split with Paradox, even though we know that they are a strong unit in the real world. So maybe the virtual RJ Silver, maybe it's time to send him in for a brain scan. You know, all those, he is the king of extreme wrestling, and all those smacks to the head might have not done him much justice. And
I'll have to talk to my huge team of assistants about that.
yes, absolutely. So
So
you meet
in that
anyway.
promo though, RJ Silver says that he wants to concentrate on singles wrestling. So by disbanding Paradox as such, it's allowing him to break free as a singles competitor. Does that mean that RJ is now going to try and follow on that by challenging Brian Stone? Perhaps Paradox behind him were the ones that were telling him not to challenge Brian Stone and to stick to the tag division. But now, with no one behind him, no one around him, he could go full in on Brian Stone.
Here's the thing, though. We could see some potential for a possible Paradox triple threat. Maybe a number one contendership to Brian Stone to teach him a lesson about dental hygiene, possibly, and win the title.
Yeah, see, here's the thing. Don't forget, none of these guys have won anything in Fusion.
It's very true. They can't be given the title match straight up, can they? It's all about
I do
working.
appreciate RJ's frustration, and so does my massive team. Believe me, it's a huge team. We've got so many guys. But we want these guys to be able to back it up. And if RJ thinks that a singles run is the way to go to get that prestigious Fusion Virtual Championship, then
Well, of course,
I'm
no
sure.
one can stop him from splitting from them. Really, it's a bit like a breakup.
it's
You can't stop one person unless they have some kind of 3-4-way marriage in Paradox. That then all parties would have to agree to the divorce, but I highly doubt that.
I will have to get someone to investigate that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, so it seems that RJ is pretty happy with his decision, and you can rest assured that all three members of Paradox will be given opportunities to prove themselves in the singles world.
And perhaps the virtually injured Ry Lloyd as well. Obviously, injured in real life, but obviously injured in the virtual world. Do you see him at all, recovering and coming, maybe to call out RJ Silver? Ry Lloyd not having a say essentially, as many would think that he was the leader.
Well, yeah, I mean, with Ry Lloyd gone, Paradox is already weakened. Like you say, if Ry is the sort of leader figure, then they're already without that.
Well, he has a
So
ton of
maybe that's the reason
experience.
for the- Oh, absolutely. Maybe that could be a factor in the recent poor performances.
Maybe so, but we move on anyway swiftly. We've on the Fusion Virtual show. On the Fusion Pro show. Me and Owain speculated about Leon Hunter and Lewis Harrow, and we saw a statement given from Leon Hunter saying that Lewis Harrow was not someone that he knew, and that he wanted to test his mettle in the ring. But we've seen the Fusion management obviously suspended the two of them, and they've recently had an opportunity, haven't they? So if you could just elaborate on that for us?
Yes. Well, my huge, incredibly sized team. We launched an investigation into, why this happened and how it managed to slip through. Because we have a great system in place when it comes to spotting out when a wrestler doesn't show up.
Yeah.
We are amazing at noticing that. So it's quite interesting how that got through.
Well, it definitely did slip through the cracks, didn't it?
It did, and even when we signed that huge paycheck for Lewis Harrow, we did not notice that it said Lewis Harrow and not Leon Hunter.
Well, I mean, Lewis and Leon, in a scribbled form of writing, could
Yeah,
look
signatures
the same.
could come
They've
across
got
the same.
initials.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Except one of them has a beard, so we should have noticed that.
yes, yeah. Well,
However, after they gave me a lot of apologies and a bit of remorse for what happened,
yeah.
I thought we'll give him a chance, and so I gave him a match against AnarKy Inc. Who
Obviously,
haven't been
AnarKy
listening
Inc.,
for quite a
yeah.
while.
AnarKy Inc. coming off a massive win in the first Streamfest against the
Yes.
3 other tag teams.
Yeah, so it's a tall order, really, isn't it, to expect this makeshift tag team of people who may be enemies, may be friends, we don't know, to go in there and take on one of the best tag teams in the Fusion Virtual Division at the moment, really.
They did seem to be on the same page. They
Yeah.
came out together to the ring. That's usually a good sign when it comes to tag teams.
Yeah, absolutely.
The promise I made to them, and maybe I was a bit of an idiot, I said, if you lose, you will be fired. Otherwise, you keep your jobs back. And they drew.
They drew.
So via the stipulation, they've been rehired.
Well,
Both
they
of them,
didn't lose. I think
Yeah.
They
that-
didn't
that's
lose.
the main- yeah.
unfortunately.
So it was a
massive
count-out draw.
Yeah,
It was
a
a
massive
count-out
draw.
draw, yes.
A massive draw against such a tag team. AnarKy Inc., as we said, were one of the best tag teams in the Fusion Virtual Division, and to come up
Absolutely.
as a stalemate against a makeshift tag team, that's incredible.
It is. It's quite remarkable. And I'm going to make a quick announcement here. There's plans being put in place by my amazing group of assistants.
Your huge team.
To introduce it's such a big team. You should
How big
should
would
see
you
our
say?
headquarters.
How big is your team?
Oh, I.
Hundred-
We've
You
got a
can't count them on
7th-floor
2
building.
hands. Let's just say.
Wow.
We've
So,
got a
so
7th-floor building.
7th-floor building.
Uh,
Incredible.
yes.
So this team really is a big team. So anything's possible, really.
Anything is possible, and we are planning to introduce some Fusion Virtual Tag Team Championship.
Oh wow.
Well, you've heard it here first on the Fusion Pro Show.
We always
Fusion
get the
Virtual-
scoop. We always
We
get the
do
scoop.
indeed. Fusion Virtual is going to be introducing tag team titles. So is that going to be via a form of a tournament, or what are you planning with this?
The four best teams, the 4 best performing teams so far in Fusion Virtual will be placed in a tournament.
Wow. So a big tag
and-
tournament. Everyone loves a tournament.
Everyone does love a tournament. We did a tournament. Everyone loved it.
Yep.
My
They did
team
indeed.
loved it. So yeah, like I say, my brilliant team are gonna put together a little bracket, and it's gonna span over 3 weeks.
Could
3
you
or 4 weeks.
could you possibly give us some hints on who would be involved in the tag tournament?
Well, I do want to see a rematch between Harrow and Hunter and AnarKy Inc. because I feel like we do need a decisive winner. Obviously, Lewis and Leon do have their jobs back, but it doesn't feel complete yet because we haven't had a winner or a loser. So we'll definitely be running that one again.
Yeah,
And as for the other
absolutely.
two, I think we're going to keep that a secret.
Oh, so a little bit. So you've thrown a bone, but you're not letting us catch it yet.
Absolutely.
Well,
We'll have to wait and see.
all the Fusion Virtual fans out there will be happy to hear that there's a tournament, a big championship tournament on the horizon. But as we move on swiftly from the tag, moving on swiftly from the tag division into another possible tag team, really. We saw Dougie Matthews offer to be Andy Knox's tag team partner since Paradox disbanded, and Andy Knox actually agreed to these terms. So, Could you see Doug Knox or something? I don't know. That's a name off the top of my head.
I'm not sure that's going to be the best name.
Doug Knox.
However, yes. So Andy Knox, obviously, he's
Heartbroken.
just been ditched. Yeah, I mean, I do feel bad for the guy, and so Dougie, he seems to be a nice man. He went out there and he said, "Look, you know, I could use a partner. You could use a partner. Why don't we team up?"
So even more kicks to the groin, possibly.
Ooh,
You
that's
know,
interesting. Maybe
a double groin
yeah,
kick.
maybe they could devise some kind of double team finisher
Double groin kicks, possibly.
where one on each side. I don't know.
One for each.
We'll let them decide.
But you
Yeah,
know,
let-
one thing I'll say.
delve into detail.
Yeah, absolutely. But one thing that I will say is that Andy Knox possibly should be looking over his shoulder. You never know when Dougie's gonna change his mind or turn
That's
on
a
you.
good point.
You know, we
Well,
may
it's very
see
sincere.
we may see Andy Knox get one in the knockers. Who knows? So
The Knox Knockers.
the Knockers possibly. But
That could be the tag team name.
the Knockers, yes. No, I think that's a great tag team. If the Fusion Virtual team has enough power, maybe just sneak that one in there. I'm sure they won't want that, but sneak it in.
I'll have to ask the team, but it takes a long time when you in our head office, it takes a long time for messages to get around, as you can imagine. You know, we've got a
Carrier
huge PR team.
Yeah.
We'll have to make sure that would fly.
Yeah,
Well considered.
absolutely. But anyway, we carry on through the show, and we saw Isaac North with Big Red against this mystery man. So we were speculating about Isaac North possibly being the mystery, what we'll call him, Goathead. We speculated on Isaac North being Goathead, but it turns out that this mystery man is just an independent figure. We don't know who he is, but he's absolutely huge. And we saw this behemoth of a match, but Goathead actually won. Who the hell could this be? Can anyone find out?
Look, like I say, my team's huge, and we couldn't find anything. Not a single one of my assistants came up with one name that it could possibly be, and I'd take anything at this point.
And
Absolutely.
from my
Take any
understanding
name.
as well, you've tried to delete this character as well.
I have. I'm afraid.
And it just keeps
I-
reappearing.
Yeah, I can't get rid of it. You know, I've tried throwing my PS4 out the window. You know, I've tried scrubbing it with a wet cloth. It won't go.
How about this?
Maybe that's why your maybe that's why your save disappeared if you're throwing your
Yeah,
PlayStation out the window and scrubbing it in water.
but perhaps this mystery man appeared after your hard drive got corrupted. Perhaps.
Yeah, possibly.
Dick Chambers is involved with this person. Perhaps we know. Obviously, Dick Chambers is the figurehead for Kreaper. He is his manager, and now this new character's been introduced.
Could it be tall Dick Chambers, but just extremely powerful for some reason? That's
Could be told Dick Chambers.
that's
but
just a
it's gonna be
theory,
powerful for
you
some
know.
reason.
Do you have any?
I will
Made
consider
himself
that.
on the game on the simulation.
Yeah, mate. Well, he is the smartest man in wrestling. It wouldn't be a surprise if he'd managed to hack into the PlayStation servers and chuck himself on the game.
Look, here's the thing. Like the PS4, it sits on floor 6 of our huge headquarters,
Yeah.
and it gets reviewed every 20 minutes.
And it's
by
just
a
the
member
one
of my team.
PS4, isn't it? It's just the one on
Just the
in
one.
this 7th floor building.
Yeah,
Yes.
we're not made of money, so we'll review it every 20 minutes or so, just to make sure everyone's in line. You know, make sure everyone's still here, no corruptions, and no one can remember seeing him until he showed up to take out Big Red on that show.
Oh, that's
And then he was there, and like I say, we've scrubbed the PS4, we've blown on the disc to get all the dust off, obviously, otherwise you'll ruin the disc reader.
You've buried it in rice to try and get any moisture
Yeah.
away from it. It's a mystery, but I'm sure that's something that we will find out in the near future. I'm
yeah.
sure
He can't stay a mystery forever. We must
One thing I
find
am
out.
gonna try, I will turn it off and back on again and see if.
Oh yeah, maybe give it a whack. That's what
Yeah.
you know, Phil Smart's. I've got all the dirty sheets. I know the ins and outs and everything, and I was told that if you give it a whack everything will be better. Just give it a whack. That's all you need to do.
Whack it out.
Yeah, just whack one out.
That could be Dougie and Andy's tag name, actually.
Just whack one out. Yeah, possibly.
Just whack one out. Yeah.
Well,
Well, it's been a pleasure having you.
it has been an absolute pleasure talking about whacking one out there. And did I just hear you corpsing?
No.
Oh well, nothing.
That's just
this
a
is.
member of my
Oh,
team.
that's one of the huge team. Okay.
That's one of the team, yeah.
All right. Okay. Well, thank you for coming on, and the Fusion fans can expect you back on the show on a weekly basis.
Boy, whack it out. Thank you.
Oh, well, there we go.
Just got to keep them in line.
Yes, keep
Of course,
if you want to get a job at the Fusion virtual offices and where you're forced to whack one out by Lewis.
No, Bobby's just whacking it out on floor 6. So we'll,
okay, good,
see how
good,
that goes.
good stuff. But thank you again for coming on, and thank you for all that you're doing for the Fusion fans. We all really appreciate it, and thank you for coming on the show and talking about Fusion Virtual with us.
My
And we
pleasure.
look forward to having you next week for the next Fusion Pro show.
Yep, so you can catch Fusion Virtual on Monday nights and Thursday nights, correct? 9 p.m.
Sunday and Thursday.
Sunday and Thursday.
Sunday?
Sorry.
Yes, it's around 7:30.
7:30.
PM.
Well, you can watch it.
Unless it's Derby Day.
Yes, if it's Derby Day,
Yes,
then that's why I got
moved it to
confused.
Sunday. Yeah.
All right. Well,
It is on demand. It's on YouTube.
it is on
You can
demand.
watch
It's
it whenever.
constantly available to everyone. Watch the whole thing again if you can. You know, get a catch up, get rereading on all the stories, I guess. But once again, thank you very much, Lewis. Do you have anything else you'd like to promo for us before we head off?
The one thing I will say is that we do take the allegations of Brian Stone's bad breath very seriously, and
Okay.
we will investigate further.
Good. Good.
Possibly adding more toothbrush to the locker room.
Yes.
Potentially, yes. If needs be, I'll get one on my team to go in there with a toothbrush every show.
Well, they say always bring your gear, always bring your mouthwash as well. All right. Thanks.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Lewis. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
See you later.
So yeah.
And next up, we have an interview with Krimson Khaos, a member of AnarKy who has many accolades. He's the two-time tag team champion, winning once with the Creed with himself and Pequeno Loco. They won the Grand Rumble, and also he's been a tag team champion with AnarKy. He's got lots of accolades, so without further ado, welcome Krimson Khaos.
Hello, Krimson Khaos.
Hello. Alright, let's just get this over with, will we?
All right. Well, I've got a couple of questions for you generally. So, we've been kind of discussing recently the relationships within AnarKy, and it's good to have you on because now we can have one of an insider's perspectives really. So, we understand that you've always been close to AJ Hughes. You know, when you came out of the academy, he's always kind of taken you under his wing and helped you out, and you've kind of looked at him as a mentor, but you've never really been a tag team. The tag team's kind of always been with Jay Shelley, and so since both competitors seem to be aiming for singles gold, who would you align yourself with if there happened to be a separation between the two?
Look, there's never going to be a separation within AnarKy, okay?
Okay.
At the end of the day, we're all on the same page.
Well, you say that, Crimson Chaos, but you know, we've seen quite recently quite a lot of bickering between the AnarKy boys. You know, I understand there can be some.
Look. There's no bickering. There's no bickering. The reason there was bickering is because of a certain someone at the last show, okay?
Well,
Someone.
yeah, well, you know, we're talking about Ryan Riot quite obviously. You know,
Look, we don't mention him. We don't mention him, okay?
well,
Okay, we'll stay away from that. We've got
we'll
some more
stay off
questions
it.
for you.
Yeah,
So,
good choice.
from your debut in Fusion Pro Wrestling, as Phil stated, you know, you fell under AJ Hughes' wing. Obviously, going your separate ways, he went on to further pastures to win the Grand Championship, you know, and you made your debut in Fusion Pro Ultimate 8 against Jay Shelley, and then you had almost a rivalry with AnarKy. It looked as if you were the golden boy, that you were going to take on AnarKy, and that your mission was to end AnarKy. Obviously, in Masters and Squared Circle, after beating Jared Gorwick, you saw AJ Hughes, your mentor figure, align himself with AnarKy and almost take up a leadership role. Surely this must have caught your attention at the start and made you think possibly, in the future I might join them.
Well, all I'm gonna say is AnarKy caught everyone's attention straight away. It wasn't just me. Like, AJ was going for the Grand Championship at the time, and obviously he saw something within, Jared Garwick, but also saw probably more in Jay Shelley, and he's obviously aligned with them to, get what he got, and that was the Fusion Pro Grand Championship.
Well, that's one thing I want to touch on actually is Jared Gorwick, because obviously when AnarKy won the tag team titles for the first time, it was won with Jared Gorwick, and ever since he left it was almost as if you inherited it, in fact, and didn't earn it. So
Wow. Didn't earn it.
I've got to be honest, you're a fantastic competitor, but you didn't win it in a match, and every other tag team title defense that you've been in...
Look, Phil, look. I've always been around the tag team silver, haven't I?
Well, yes, but...
I was the first tag team champion with Pequeno Loco, but I was the one carrying Pequeno Loco.
Do you believe that, honestly?
Garwick. Of course I do.
Do you not...
It's not a fact that I believe it, it's that everyone knows it.
But wouldn't you consider the fact that while you were getting beaten by Kreaper, Pequeno Loco's the one doing all the work in eliminating Ashton Love in the Grand Rumble?
Very true.
Technically, Pequeno Loco won those titles for you, not just you.
Well, if you go back and watch the Grand Rumble, Pequeno Loco was on his ass half the time.
I think we do have to be fair to Crimson Khaos here as well. I don't believe Pequeno Loco had another match on that night while Crimson Khaos did go through the ringer with Kreaper earlier on, and many people know it's very difficult to topple the big man. So
well, of course, but still, the matter of the fact is, it was Pequeno Loco who won that match. Wasn't it Pequeno Loco who won the tag team match against AnarKy back in?
No.
Was it not?
No, because if you go back to that again, I was in the ring the majority of the time. There was no team with Pequeno Loco. It was always me.
So is that why you decided to align yourself with AnarKy, possibly thinking that it was more of a team effort?
I chose AnarKy because they were the hottest thing in professional wrestling at the time, and they still are.
Well, I've got a question about you joining AnarKy. Actually, was it always a grand plan? Was it a split decision? Was it a plan just on the night?
We're not going to go into that. I'm not going to go into that.
So
none of your business, Phil.
Our viewers want to hear this.
Well,
I don't care about the viewers.
You betrayed Pequeno Loco. We need to know what was going through your head.
No. I didn't betray Pequeno Loco. Listen, I was the one carrying him on my back. I was the one carrying the academy on my back.
Well,
I was like Owain flipping Roberts has just said. I was the golden boy for so long.
Well, undoubtedly, you were,
you're very able. We're not taking anything away from you. What you've done in your first couple of years is absolutely incredible. And but what we've seen is a lot of issues as well. With whether it's within AnarKy, whether it's your loyalty to the creed, whether it's just consistent losses quite recently. So can you tell us what's next for? Recently, you failed on your recent tag team title defense. I know you make an excuse for that, but it's just matter of fact. AnarKy lost.
And you lost the tag team
who
titles.
got pinned in that match? Phil, who got pinned in the match?
Well, of course it's Ryan Riot. And...
There you go. That's all I have. No, there you go.
Well.
So,
regarding Ryan Riot, what is the future for AnarKy? Do you try and chase more gold? Do you take on Ryan Riot? Because Ryan Riot certainly does have an issue, and he eliminated AnarKy from the Rumble.
Look, I'm not going to sit here and say all our plans for AnarKy. That is just stupid.
Well, I hate to cut you off here, but talking about Ryan Riot, this is a surprise to you, but we actually have Ryan Riot on the line right now. So, Ryan Riot, would you like to say your piece?
So,
oh God.
Your issue is you blame me for the loss. You blame me.
Yeah. Yes.
What did you do in that match?
I dominated that tag match.
You dominated. You got knocked
Yes.
off the apron and sat outside the ring like a little
Who
bitch.
knocked me off the apron?
Gulstan.
Goose? No, Ryan, it was you. You absolute idiot.
Well, you should have been paying attention.
Hey,
clearly.
boys. Let's just let's try and keep a structure to this. So what we'll do
Brought
is,
me here to say my piece.
well, exactly. So what I want to do
You'll
first
each
is,
get a turn. You'll each get a turn.
I want Ryan Riot first off. Ryan Riot, I've got 3 questions inside of 1 question, effectively for you. Okay, so obviously you're quite relatively new in Fusion Pro. Didn't have the best start. You obviously had a title match, but it wasn't the best way to. Let's hold off on that, please, Crimson Khaos. Okay, but you've obviously had a title match early. But I want to know what does your future have in store for you in Fusion Pro? First of all, my second question to you is, what are you going to do about the problem which is currently AnarKy on your back? Because we know that they're ruthless and they are relentless and they won't stop at anything. And I'd also like to know what you would like to say directly to Krimson Khaos now that you've got him on the line.
Okay, so regarding my future in Fusion, the only thing I want to do right now is rip AnarKy apart. The 3 of them are like a bunch of chihuahuas, all bark and no bite.
Wow. Wow. That's cutting deep. I can tell. I can feel the foam coming from Krimson Chaos's mouth right now.
Rabies, lovely.
I'll let him have his say. It's fine.
Okay. Well, I thank you for that. Trying to keep a calm discussion. So obviously moving forward, there's no chance in mending this bridge with AnarKy then, Ryan Riot?
Absolutely not.
But
No?
it looks as if you were on course to join. Obviously, you played a part in the match against Brian Stone and AJ Hughes. Were you told to intervene in the match, or did you think that by trying to help AJ Hughes by distracting Brian Stone or by getting involved would help?
I'd just like to answer. Sorry, I'd just like to answer
Hey.
for him. He is the one that cost AJ Hughes.
Hey, come on. He may have cost AJ Hughes, but it may have been part of a grander scheme, as we say here on Fusion Pro. But I've got to be honest here. My sources told me that Jay Shelley has been planning for a while to get Ryan Riot into AnarKy. He's constantly been suggesting you ever since he first saw you way back at Mayhem, I believe it was. So can you maybe confirm those rumors for us? What was the process in all of this?
Well, Jay Shelley has been trying to recruit me for a while, and I was close to getting a restraining order. I caved.
Yeah.
I decided to help AnarKy out because of Jay Shelley's injury, and then they stabbed me in the back.
Do you ultimately regret it, or are you glad that now you can go after these the 3 of them after they've hurt you? Obviously.
Well, you see, my goal wasn't to join AnarKy. I was offered a tag team title match. Who
Yeah.
would turn that? I think everybody in the roster when I say who would turn that down.
Yeah.
Second
Well,
match,
it's very true.
So
I
my
mean, it
goal
was-
to get-
It was a massive opportunity for you, and we don't blame you for trying to take it. But obviously, aligning yourself with a tag team like AnarKy, surely, you must have weighed up the pros and cons.
yeah, we've seen them do some despicable things. We've seen, someone who you tagged with in Crimson Chaos first off betray Pequeno Loco. So were there any thoughts going in? Were there any thoughts going into that match where you had it in the back of your head, thinking, it's make or break really. If I fail, it's done, because that's AnarKy are ruthless. They cut people off.
I knew I couldn't trust them 100% going into it, but
But for the gold, you were willing to take the risk.
anything.
Okay.
Does
But
that
now, all I
does
have
that not
in mind-
remind you of Crimson Chaos though, where he's put himself in a position where he's no longer got silverware, and he's realigned himself with possibly something a bit different from what he was usually with, to be able to get those tag team silvers again. He was a
Well-
member of Creed. You've
Well-
done it pretty much the exact same thing, but failed in your attempt.
The
Whereas
difference
Crimson
is,
Chaos obviously won the silvers.
you see, the difference is when Chaos joined AnarKy, he was handed the title. He didn't get it,
Well,
he was handed that title.
he doesn't take a great liking to people saying that. We've already been over this tonight, but just to keep it equal and fair, I want to kind of get Krimson Khaos' side of the argument now. So first of all, why did you do it? Why did you betray Ryan Riot on that night?
I didn't betray Ryan Riot. He betrayed AnarKy. Go back and watch the footage. He cost AJ Hughes the match.
Well, yeah, but that's
the
part
match.
of what happens when you bring your lackeys out to the ring. You know, you take that risk. Do you
That's
not?
exactly what he is. He's a lackey. That is all he'll ever be. He
Well,
wants to talk about his future in Fusion. He has no past. How is he going to have a future? He's only had 2 matches since he's been here, and he's lost them both.
Well, big words from
very
Krimson
big
Khaos
words.
there.
Very big words.
How's
You know,
that losing streak coming along, Chaos?
Hey?
How's that losing streak coming along?
Losing
mean, he's-
streak.
It's the same losing streak as you. So just to be on the fair side, you know, your performances have been less than stellar as well, Ryan Riot. You know, both
all
of
I'm
you
going
now.
to say, all I'm going to say is you've had 2 appearances, Ryan. 2, and you have lost them both. I beat the man you first lost to, Alfie Brooks. I beat him.
it's very true. You did beat Alfie Brooks out in Civil War. You know. So Ryan Riot, do you have any response? Maybe a possible counter argument or a possible a theory or an explanation as to what you're going to do next?
I'll admit, I've lost both my matches. It took, where was it? Last May? That's when I faced Alfie Brooks. It took me about a year to find myself. I came back. I tried to help AnarKy. Didn't go to plan. But now my plan is to destroy AnarKy. I will rip them apart, every single one of them. Whether I have somebody by my side or not, they are done.
They are finished.
Oh, Ryan.
Well,
There's no one by your side, mate.
there are strong words here, but how do you have any plans for a future alliance to possibly take on AnarKy or to defeat them?
Are you trying to say I can't do it? Can't do this on my own?
I'm not saying
Of course
that.
you can.
But all I'm saying is that
Every-
it's 3v1. The numbers game is a classic wrestling point, isn't it?
What I'm going to say is everyone fears
Hey, come on,
AnarKy.
guys. Let's not talk over each other. I'll let Ryan Riot just reply to my question, and I'll come back to you, Crimson.
You've seen them themselves, keyboard warriors all over Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. They don't get along.
Well,
People-
you know, we have seen, like you said, we have seen some arguments and some dissension in AnarKy. So, Krimson Khaos, could I possibly get you to reply to Ryan on that point?
Well, first off, no one is going to help you, Ryan. Everyone fears AnarKy. Since day one, AnarKy has run roughshop all over Fusion Pro. It's run roughshop over UKWA. It's run roughshop over Just Fabulous Pro Wrestling. We are here to take what we want. Whether it's silver, whether it's gold, whether it's someone with us, whether it's we're taking down someone. We will achieve what we want.
Well, you know,
No one is going to help you.
we do have to say that AnarKy really, you know, we've only recently seen them hold all the gold, so we go on about a losing streak, but you know, everyone has a bad rut from the best in the world to the lowest level. You know, everyone can get into bad ruts, and really, my question for the future is: will we see AnarKy crumble because of the egos involved, or will we see it come back stronger than ever, holding all the gold? And also, do you need to recruit another member?
No, we don't need anyone else. We don't need anyone else. We will come back stronger. We are going to decimate the entire Fusion Pro Wrestling roster.
Well,
Ryan is first. For me personally, Ryan is first. I'm going to ensure there is no future for him.
so could we
Can I go out
possibly?
Quite funny.
Sorry,
I'll
can I
get
go
that.
back to the point where you said that AnarKy don't need another member? Clearly, Jay Shelley believes so. He tried to recruit Ryan Riot.
No, no, no.
Jay Shelley is the self-proclaimed leader of AnarKy. Does
No, it's
Jay
not
Shelley have?
self-proclaimed. It's not. Jay Shelley is the leader. I
So
will
why
say
is
that.
Absolutely.
AJ Hughes going around? Why
Yep.
is AJ Hughes going around
Because-
saying he's the leader? Is there tension in AnarKy?
Listen. Okay, I see what you're trying to do. You're trying to spin the wheel, trying to get these little things where Anarchy's falling apart. I get it. You need a headline for Fusion Pro Show. I get it. But there is no bigger headline than having AnarKy on it. Okay.
Well, could
Now,
we
what I-
could we possibly get our headline for this show then, and possibly get both of you to say you are willing to have a match?
Oh,
absolutely.
it's not a match. It's not going to be a match. I'm going to slaughter you, Ryan. Whether it's inside the ring, outside the ring, on the street, in your house, I don't care.
And what
I
about
don't
you, Ryan?
I don't care what lengths I have to go to. I am ripping him to pieces.
Well, absolutely huge statements from the two of them. I'd like to thank you both for coming on, and we're going to have to end the show here. But thank you everyone for listening, and I'm sure that the Fusion fans will be very grateful for the two of you for coming on, and not so much settling the beef, but at least explaining what's happened to us. So again, we're going to have to say goodnight to everyone now. It's been an awesome show, and thank you very much for listening, everyone.